Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
So, something just said to cover this now instead of covering it later. I asked Cindy to check with the guides. Is this anything of any major significance? And what we're talking about is basically there have been missiles launched into Erbil, Iraq by the U.S. Consulate from Iran. And as you see here, reportedly, they came from Iran into Iraq.
So when I look into that, there's a whole lot of confusion going on right now. People are trying to find out, pinpoint who is doing what. As far as finding out exactly what happened, that's not clear. And I can't say when it will ever be clear, but I do know that it's very chaotic and people are very frightened right now.
And this is significant?
It feels like it's going to be like the hub of something much larger, yeah. I mean, we'll have to wait and watch and see, but it definitely feels like it's something that is like one of those dominoes you hit, and then a bunch of other things are going to happen after that.
I feel so bad for all these people that have gone through so many years of this type of thing. And here's another angle. We've been wondering, if this is going to end up spreading. Well, not really if. I mean, honestly, this is something that I've seen since like 1984 and always felt was going to happen. We can always nudge timelines in different ways. We could keep putting the positive thoughts out there, keep trying to wake people up to the fact that so much of this is all part of a bigger plan. And so we see breaking from the AP, as many as a dozen missiles have been fired towards the U.S. Consulate in Iraq's northern city of Erbil. Iraqi security officials said, a U.S. defense official said the missiles have been launched at the city from neighboring Iran. And over here, Fox News is saying no casualties reported, no American casualties, we should say. And DEFCON Warning Systems is saying the U.S. confirms the missile attack on a U.S. base in Iraq launched from Iran. So is this part of a bigger theater that's going to be operating? There's still a lot of activity in Syria. So we have, activity obviously in Ukraine. That's the main focus. There's still a lot of military activity in Syria. You have Russian forces in Syria, American forces in Syria, and you have Turkish forces in Syria, as well as different quote-unquote terrorist organizations. We have a war going on in Yemen still, and here in Iraq, perhaps there's something else brewing as well. It obviously looks like this is really going to expand, and so we should always be as prepared as possible for this. Whenever you see the comments that say fear-mongering, but is there not a war going on? I mean, did not World War I or II happen? Were there fear-mongers that were warning of World War II and World War I happening before? They happened saying, guys, this isn't good. You should see what's going on here. This isn't good. You should prepare. I don't think that's fear-mongering. I think it's just simply being aware of a situation that is developing and then taking whatever precautions you can for you, your loved ones, and your neighbors and friends.
Right. I think it's worse if you do know that something is happening and yet you just quietly prepare yourself, but you say nothing to no one. I mean, I think that's far worse than telling people to be safe and be prepared. If you know something, you should say something.
Yeah, most definitely. As we look at the different angles. You gotta wonder, is that just reflections in the window? Probably. But we were looking at, I forget which, no, I think it was Kiev today, and Cindy was making notes saying there's so many ships that are, basically just cloaked watching. It makes me think about all the Foo Fighters from World War II that people would, report. There's always extraterrestrials watching this show here on planet Earth. So if this is Iran directly targeting Americans and herbal, what does that mean? What's that going to mean in the bigger picture of things?
Well, it just means it's another step toward that bigger conflict that they want. I think it's just a matter of which fuse did they light? Where is that fuse going to go? So they're definitely lighting fuses all over the place, but we'll have to see what comes of this one.
Yeah, we've definitely got it from the guides that there can be a major escalation coming very, very soon. A major escalation, even involving, coming in closer to home, so to speak. So again, everybody should be as prepared as possible for, who knows, lights out, will we lose the grid forever? No, it'll come back. Believe me, that's too much of a control thing for them to have the grid down for too long. But yeah, sporadically, again, when you're in a war zone, in many ways, you're cut off from any sort of communications besides who's directly in front of you. Typically, again, it's interesting to see that in Ukraine, for instance, it's a lot of communications are still up. But then again, there's a lot of loosh to be had, a lot of fear, and a lot of there's a lot of opinions to be created, should we say?
Right. They need people to form their opinion, based on whatever the media is going to allow out. But let's not forget, we have a job to do as light workers, and we cloak these other people, families, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters who are in fear. We cloak them with the light, because whatever we send out will come back to us in a time of need.
Absolutely. So keep putting out the prayers for peace. Keep making your own preparations for yourself, your friends, your family, your loved ones. Work with your neighbors. Get as prepared, self-sufficient as possible. Victory gardens, survival gardens, whatever you want to call them. It's a good idea to start growing and providing your own food as much as possible. As always, guys, thanks for your support over on Patreon. We couldn't do it without you guys. Also on Ko-Fi. Double check, make sure you are subscribed, because as always, they go through waves of really, squishing down and keeping people away from viewing the videos. Do use coupon code EEA and check out the link to Medicinal Foods. It's absolutely vital that we are always detoxifying and taking in food that's going to boost our immune system. As Cindy's the one that suggested, well, we're going to go on a fast on Monday. So, we're always doing like periodic fasts. If you could only manage to do a 16-hour fast, that's fine. If you could do 20 hours, that's great. If you could do 24 hours, that's awesome. And if you could do it repetitively, even better yet, because we are exposed to so many toxins in this world constantly. We were just talking about how the mortality rate has gone through the roof in these times. There's more people developing cancers. If you periodically fast, that is one of the biggest tools against cancer.
It's a huge way to do your own internal house cleaning. So it's really important to do.
As well as sharpen your abilities spiritually. Most definitely. As always, guys, God bless and namaste.
Namaste.